My name is Andreas Riter. My friends and family call me Dre. My family actually doesn't call me Dre, they call me Andy. I'm a man with many nicknames, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all feeling calm and centered. Oh, this is cool. Speaking of firsts, I've never done this before. I've never done a live stream. Nikki just wrote a comment, said, "Whoa, so handsome." Well, Nikki, not so bad yourself. Um, my wife just made a comment. What'd you say? She said, "Watch it." Okay. Uh, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Jen, for organizing this and for having me here. This is a very cool thing, unique thing, and it's really, really great that it's giving back to Bali Street mums. And I think it's very poignant for this time, of course, with Mother's Day right around the corner, but also just the world in so much upheaval and craziness going on, to give back to those in need and make sure that we're all helping each other, lifting each other up. So, some stories about me. Well, some firsts. I am an actor and I'm a stand-up comedian, and I found that passion from a pretty young age, and really one of the light bulbs, I guess, that compelled me to go in that path happened from happenstance with my mother. My mother is she's German. I'm half German, and she she's very funny. She's very frank. She's straight to the point. Hi, Jen. Uh, and she has a thick accent, and she says what's on her mind. So when I was young, I really wanted to be a soccer player. I love playing soccer. I still love playing soccer, but I used to go on traveling tournaments with my friends. We'd go all around the state of California. I'm coming at you right now from Los Angeles, but I grew up in the Bay Area near San Francisco in the Silicon Valley, and so we would travel around on these tournaments. And I guess I was probably around 10 or 11, and you know, I'm also a recent parent, and I have to say, parents parents are put through the ringer a lot, and I think especially when you're trying to feed your child passions and be there for them. And my mom was really great with that. She would get up at 4 in the morning and drive me to Reading or wherever else, some random place throughout the state. And California is a big state, so uh, so it's a lot of driving, and it was a lot of early mornings, and she would deal with 5 or 6 rambunctious boys in the back seat, you know. Um, so we were at a soccer tournament. We were heading up. Don't remember the tournament, but we were heading back from this tournament. My poor mother was just so exhausted, and dealing with traffic and loud boys in the back seat. And somebody cut her off, and she just goes, "Bleep you bleep hole." I'm not going to swear, but she swore, and and me and my friend were in the back seat, just eyes wide, like, "Oh my god, can't believe she just did that." You know, when you hear your parents swear for the first time, it's always a fun, like, "Oh, I can't believe it. She actually just did that in front of me." Um, so it was a first for me, and we were both so excited about it. And and I just did the exact personation, like kids do, a mimic of that. Bleep you bleeping jerk face hole. I won't say the actual thing because there's kids here tuning in. This is Facebook. We don't want to get flagged. Uh, and my friend just busted up laughing. He couldn't stop laughing. And then we the next day, I think, or whenever the next practice, I started repeating it over and over because I knew I was going to get a laugh, and then it became an ongoing thing. And then I just started really honing in on my mom impersonation. Every single thing she did, I was copying it left and right, really getting my mom impersonation down. In fact, I was doing it so much that that people around town that would meet my mom would know who she was before they'd be like, "Oh, you must be Andy's mom." Everyone called me Andy growing up. "Oh, you must be Andy's mom." And they'd say, "I don't know you. How did you know that? I have never met you before. What? Oh, I met your son, and he was just talking like you for the last hour or so." It was just very, very fun. Yeah. Another example of that was like when, and I started collecting these stories, so I collect them, keep them in my back seat. Anytime my mom said something that was really funny, particularly to me and my sister, I would just hold on to that, grab it, and wait for opportunities to share it. In fact, now as a stand-up, I have I have a few stories that I've that I've collected that I use for my stand-up material. One of which is when I was a teenager. I guess I was 16, 17. I just got my driver's license, and I was driving around with my sister in the car, and my sister's giving me directions to wherever we were going, and she said, "Oh, just flip a B, right up there." Do you want to be on the live stream? Like, I'm getting the commentary from the kitchen. Okay, if you, she's just telling me how I should tell my story that I've told 1,000 times. So that's great. Uh, I know the story. It's in my stand-up material. Anyway, so my sister says, "Flip a B right up here," and my mom gets so excited. One of the things about my mom too is that because she's a foreigner, and I think all foreign moms have this, they get really excited about slang words and knowing like what the cool lingo is that the kids are doing. So she said, "Flip a B," what does flip a B mean? Um, and my sister goes, "Oh, it's just to do a U-turn. It's just slang to do a U-turn." And my mom just really got into it. "Oh yeah, we are flipping some bees around here, huh? We're going to maybe we go in a circle and we flip off two bees, huh? Is that how it works, huh? Or maybe we get lost and we flip off all the bees around town, yeah." Um, yeah, so it's very weird to do a joke without a crowd reacting. I'm used to, like, I know people would normally laugh there. So if you didn't laugh there, that's on me probably. Anyway, so taking it back, the flip a B, what other ones? When I came back from college, and I'm realizing also that my mom has a mouth like a sailor, because I also had a mouth like a sailor. It just kind of happened that way. Uh, But when I came back from college, and when I was a freshman in college, I really wanted to be cool. Like all kids, you want to be cool. So I was dropping a lot of F bombs and saying bad things all the time. And my mom, also wanting to be cool and picking up on my lingo, would do the same. But it was very funny when she would tell a story because her stories, at that time, she was, I don't want to tell her age, but she was, uh, let's say, in the 50s range. I hope she doesn't watch this and get offended. Yes, she was in that area. And so her stories were like about, book club. And then she's dropping F bombs like left and right. So she'd be like, "Yeah, me and Ginny and the girls, we were after book club, we didn't went down to effing Starbucks, and the effing guy in the effing line was like, 'What the F do you want?' And I was like, 'What the F do you think I want? I want what I always get. I want an effing latte and I want the cream on the top, with the right amount of sugar." Uh, so thank you, babe, for the courtesy laugh in the kitchen. Uh, so it was just very funny. And I found this like, but it was, the point is that my mom always took this in stride. A lot of people, when you make impersonation of them or would run with that or do it constantly to an annoying fashion, they would kind of nip that in the bud or to say, "Hey, like not cool." And my mom has always been game. Oh God, now I'm gonna get emotional. She's always been game and always been supportive. uh, and I think that, oh gosh, you guys, I'm not. I'm trying not to get emotional here. Anyway, I think that's the beauty of moms. There's no judgment, and they know that they're there to support you no matter what, even at their own cost sometimes. um and because she's had such a good like reaction to it. I always felt like, oh, I can keep going with this. I can keep going further. What other impersonations can I do? What other routines can I find that are outside of my mom? And I think that's thank you, Nikki. My German accent's on bleeping point. uh yeah. Anyway, so I'm sorry, you guys. It's been a week. I gotta say, it's been a week. It's been a month. My wife and I are. We have a 1 year old daughter. If you tuned in yesterday, my wife was on, Andrea Kanzler Riter, and she probably told you stories about us meeting and our whole origin story, as I like to say. But we have a 1 year old daughter. We're both working from home, and it is a challenge. Like, you guys think road rules and real world challenge is a challenge? No, no. They should have a reality show just called Living with a Child. Living with a child while working from home. That would be the challenge. Um, so anyway, that is sort of one of my mom's stories. I will maybe tell one other. What's another fun first story? First story. You know what is here's the first for me is the first time traveling by myself was very interesting. If you guys, I think most people travel with other people, and there's usually a reason for that. But I do encourage you, if you have the chance, travel by yourself. Um, yeah, that's all. I mean, I guess none of us are going to be traveling for a while, but when you get a chance to travel, travel by yourself. It just teaches you so much about like what kind of grit you have inside of you. I guess it was 2010, and I had booked a big commercial for Hyundai for the World Cup, and I made a chunk of money. And I thought, oh, amazing! I'm going to go on a trip to Europe, and I couldn't find any friends that would go with me. And I thought, well, who cares? I'll go by myself. So I went, and I went to Spain, and I went to Germany, and I went to England. And I don't speak Spanish. So when I went to Spain, I stayed with a friend of mine who was living there at the time, and he was working though. I mean, he was working very full time, and so I just kind of bounced around. I went to Barcelona, went to museums, did things on my own. But their scare, I just didn't. I didn't plan ahead. I'm not a planner. I just kind of am a wing it kind of guy. In case you didn't get that vibe by now, and I didn't plan ahead, and I found myself always always off on my timing. I would get up at like 9 o'clock, nothing was open. No one opens anything in Spain until 11 o'clock. So I'm starving until 11 o'clock. Then I feast on whatever I could feast on. Um, and then I would like think, oh, cool, I'll go check out some shops. Oh, wait, it's siesta time. Everything's closed again. Um, and then I ran out of money that was exchanged. And I thought, okay, well, I have some American dollars. I'll go to a bank and exchange that. And just every single step along the way, I was running into problems, and I was always felt like I was always tired, hungry, or broke, and in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I powered through, and I ended up finding out that I've got a lot more grit than I thought. Similar thing happened when I was in London. I got to London, and I didn't pay attention to my flight. I thought it was at 7 p.m. and I had friends in London, and they dropped me off at the airport at 7 p.m. And my flight was actually at 7 a.m. the next day. And I was so embarrassed that I didn't want to call my friends back because they lived like an hour outside of the city. They went through all this trouble. They had been hosting me this whole time. Uh, so I was so embarrassed that I didn't want to say anything. And I had run out of money. I misplanned my money, and so I couldn't get a hotel. So I just slept at the airport. I found a like an empty restaurant and like snuck under a table and slept in the London Heathrow airport for for the night. And I'd run out of money, so I was just hungry and sleeping in the airport under this is not a funny or cool story, but I'm just telling you those kinds of experiences, they it kind of it makes you, because I didn't sleep very well. I didn't sleep the night before because I was out partying. But regardless of that, I just got a sense of like, oh man, this is what it's like to be out on the street. This is what it's like to be home. People like that have to deal with that every single night. What a terrible experience. I'm whining about it 10 years later, and it was just one night. So my heart goes out to people that are on the street and have that compassion. And I'm tying it back to the theme of the day, which is to give back to this charity, look out for one another. It's also weird doing this because you're not in a dialogue, and I feel like I've been talking too long. Like in a conversation, if you are the only one talking for a while, you're a selfish conversationalist. So that's a pro tip. You could put that up here. Pro tip in the edit. Don't be a selfish conversationalist. Listen to other people, ask questions, and then respond to them. Don't talk for 15 minutes straight. People will usually tune out unless you have something interesting to say. Um, on that note, I think I will wrap it up. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Jen, for letting me do this. Thank you to my mother for raising me. Thank you to my wife for raising my daughter and being a wonderful mother. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Take care.